We're Episcopal priests. Of course we get dressed up on Sundays. I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course we'll do your gay wedding.
I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course women can be priests.
I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course I offer free walk-in therapy all day.
We're Episcopal priests. Of course we know your pronouns.
We're Episcopal priests. Of course we're super serious.
We're Episcopal priests. Of course we wear our collars every day.
I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course we set up fun children's areas in worship. I'm an Episcopal priest. Of course we love incense.
You're all going to hell. Goodbye.
Hey guys, it's been a couple of weeks since my last video, so I just wanted to come on here and let you all know that I'm still alive and well, and basically YouTube with all the censorship and suppression made it impossible for me to keep the lights on, so unfortunately I've had to focus my energy elsewhere to pay the bills. Now, I would like to get back to putting out daily videos, so I'm going to continue to shout out my Give, Send, Go link, which I will put in the description box below, as well as the pinned comment if you're interested in helping me fight back against this crazy YouTube censorship and suppression. But in the meantime, I'm going to come on here as much as I possibly can to keep you guys updated on the happenings of Clown World. And with that being said, let's get into it. Now, if you place your attention on the screen for a moment. Now, I'm not quite for sure exactly who this lovely young lady is or what she identifies as, but I needed a screen holder and, well, she fit the bill perfectly.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Now, before we go any further, I just want to say rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Now, I don't know what the truth is surrounding his murder, but one thing I can guarantee is the story the government is telling us is not the truth. And speaking of the government, we're going to keep it moving with this clip of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, literally talking shit about Charlie Kirk a few days after his death on the House floor. Now, the strange thing about this clip is that I completely agree with what she says at the end here. Check it out. Roll it.
His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans, far from the working tirelessly to promote unity, unquote, asserted by the majority in this resolution. It is equally important that Congress does unite to reject the government's attempt to weaponize this moment into an all-out assault on free speech across the country, all in the name of Charlie Kirk.
The f*** did you just say?
His rhetoric and beliefs were ignorant, uneducated, and sought to disenfranchise millions of Americans.
You see that? That's a stupid bitch.
Now, some of you might be thinking, Mike, how could you agree with anything that smooth-brained AOC says? Now, let me explain. These people are going to usher in these so-called hate speech laws under the guise of going after people that are celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. However, what they really want to do is put these laws in place to stop people from criticizing their owners. And if you don't believe me, I'll let Fox News co-host, Attorney General Pam Bondi, tell you for herself. Roll it.
It is, and you know, on a broader level, the anti-Semitism, what's been happening at college campuses around this country is disgusting, it's despicable, and we've been fighting that. We've been fighting these universities left and right, and we're not going to stop. There's free speech, and then there's hate speech, and there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
Come again.
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything, and that's across the aisle.
In America, we have the freedom of speech, the right to disagree.
So there you have it, straight from the horse's mouth. Now, we all know there's no such thing as hate speech. There are already laws against threatening people or harassing people. I mean, if I want to call someone a I'm allowed to do so. That is my First Amendment right. But you just have to listen closely to what she said. Of course, she brought up anti-Semitism and said they will target anyone on either side of the aisle. Very telling. Anyway, we're going to keep it moving with another smooth-brained politician. This time, Somalian Congresswoman Ilhan Omar trashing Charlie Kirk's memory. Roll it.
I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism of that in the immediate aftermath. What
I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
Go back to your own country.
Now, what I just showed you guys was proof that the United States is a failed experiment. I'm sorry, but it just is. When we have people like AOC and Ilhan Omar being elected to go to D.C. to make policies and laws for this country, that's a wrap. Anyway, next up, here we have a lawmaker from Boston complaining about bike lanes, but she has a personal stake in the matter. Roll it.
I am afraid that the conversation in the city of Boston has really gotten sort of that we've become a little bit desensitized to the conversation around safety. And I can tell you, I had a recent experience on a bike that has put me off of a bike for 2 months. I was heckled. Someone behind me said, "You better move, you fat B word," behind me while I was biking in an area that did not have a protected bike lane. And I do need to share that there's a lot of trauma that people that are riding on two wheels feel in the city. And as we're reaching summer months, blue bikes, other people who are riding on their own two-wheeled devices, they do get heckled. They are impacted by the conversation that we have at the City Council. And I do think it's very important that we realize that in the culture war that is happening around bikes and other infrastructure, we do need to center those that are most vulnerable: pedestrians, bike users, people on two wheels. And that's something that I have stood behind. I ran on being someone who is for safe and accessible streets, and I will continue to do that. And if this is placed in my committee, I think we really need to have a nuanced conversation about who is vulnerable on the roads and how we can protect them.
What's that? Say that again.
I was heckled. Someone behind me said, "You better move, you fat B word."
You fat bitch.
Now, don't heckle anybody that's out there riding a bike or walking or jogging or getting exercise of any kind that's going to improve their quality of life. We should be encouraging more of that, not discouraging people from doing it. Anyway, real quick, before we go any further, I want to give a huge shout out to the sponsors of today's video. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to let this loop on the screen. Now, that is not makeup. That is tattoo ink. Anyway, today's video is being brought to us by our first sponsor is Nathaniel Higgers. Nathaniel, thank you so much, sir, for sponsoring today's video. I really appreciate the support. And our second sponsor of today's video is the Etsy store Red Clover Fields. Now, many of you know that is my wife's Etsy store, and she's got some fantastic stuff on her website, stuff I use every day, and I swear by it. So if you're looking to take control of your health, maybe get away from some big pharma products and check out some more natural remedies, definitely go peruse her store. I will put a link to that in the description box below. So once again, today's video sponsors are Nathaniel Higgers and the Etsy store Red Clover Fields. Now, if you'd like to sponsor the next video and help support the channel, there is a PayPal link in the description box below, and I will say your full name as a sponsor of said video unless stated otherwise by you. All right, I think we've seen enough of this fella for one day. Get this off the screen, please. All
right, that's creepy.
Now, I'll admit that I haven't been to church since I was a little boy when my mother used to take myself, my sister, and my brother every now and again. But my question is, what the hell is going on with the churches these days? You guys remember the priests we saw in the first clip? Check this one out. Roll it.
Dear white people, stop trying to get invited to the cookout. Hi, I'm a white, red Native American person, and it's Murdered and Missing Indigenous Peoples Day, which means we gotta talk. All right, so I want to talk about performative allyship and why it's a problem. So I see this idea of getting invited to the cookout as the sort of the modern, I have black friends because it means you've arrived, right? But I need you to be very, very for real right now. There are some black people that have experienced so much racism at the hands of white people that they will never be okay with your presence. And I know that that's hard to swallow because you're like, but I'm good. No. If you're good, you will understand. It does not matter how cool and friendly and besties you are with Shamika if her grandmother can't relax around you. And I know that you want to prove yourself, but you can't.
What in God's holy name are you blathering about?
And next up, we have this young lady whose whole TikTok is just her stuffing her face with junk food, and she starts out each video by saying, "What I eat in a day is a fat girl." Now, somebody added some sound effects to this to try to make it funny and more bearable, I guess. Roll it.
Day as a fat girl. Strawberry cheesecake puff pastry. Love my donuts, and this one is chocolate banana.
Ugh, I can actually hear you getting fatter.
And next up, we have this fellow who calls himself Andrea Anaconda. I wonder if that name has anything to do with the snake trying to climb out of his short shorts. Roll it.
It is disrespectful when you call a transgender woman he. But if I called you a name, you wouldn't like that, would you? Stop acting like pronouns are that hard. My name is Andrea Anaconda, she, her. Thank you.
That is weird. Just a big bulge in your pants.
All right, guys, we are going to be wrapping it up with this clip of disgraced CNN anchor Jim Acosta, who apparently has his own podcast now, talking to disgraced, whatever the hell she is, Rosie O'Donnell, who, keep in mind, fled to Ireland after Trump won the election in 2024. Anyway, things are clearly getting very, very crazy out there, guys, so please take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Till next time, love you guys. Peace. Roll it.
It's not the truth for our kids.
And that's what's
that we took for granted. He's taken away. And it's not just him. You know, everyone's like, oh, you just hate him. It's the Heritage Foundation. It's this cabal of white Christian nationalists. And they are terrifying. He is not smart enough to have come up with this plan. Left to his own devices, he makes Trump vodka that goes out of business. He closes down casinos 6 times. He is not a smart man.
Yeah.
Period.
Is there any way you would come back? Because, I mean, I'm sure people are listening to this right now and saying, Rosie, we want you back here fighting with us here. I love it that you're happy there in Ireland. It's a beautiful thing.
What did you say? What the f did you just say?
He is not smart enough to have come up with this plan. Left to his own devices, he makes Trump vodka that goes out of business. He closes down casinos 6 times. He is not a smart man.
That's a lot of bullshit.
2, 10, 12, 15. Oops, stepping on a. It's black. Anyway,